Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Okay, here it is. It's the post-game show. A Modeler's Life barbecue / picnic post-game show. Now more commonly known as simply the AML barbecue. 6 letters. AML-BBQ. And that's it. It was our 3rd year in Rochelle, Illinois. We took over the park like we do every year. Weather was hot. It was hot. Hot. How hot was it? It was hotter than a snake's ass in a wagon rut. It is so hot. It was hot. People were passing out. Nobody passed out. We managed to avoid that thanks to Bruce, the moderately agitated mail boy, who also turns out to be a guy that has the ability to spot somebody that's just about to hit the deck. That would be a good way of saying it. So we did a post-game show. It was so long, we've now divided it into 2 parts. It was, let's see, who else was on it? We had Spoon, Mike Ostertag from Green Bay, Wisconsin, home of the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And then we had Hard Part, Kevin Marks, all the way from Appleton, Wisconsin, which is about a 30-minute drive from Green Bay. And we had David Start and Cosmo Kramer, Cosmo Jordan, we now call him Cosmo, Kozmo. Joe Cummings, Boston Joe Cummings was there on this show, and joining us late, kind of making a Bob Hope kind of entrance from the old Johnny Carson show days. Da 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 da. But only they'd be playing "Thanks for the Memories." Tom Jacobs joined us about 20-30 minutes into the show, because next year on June the 27th in Robesonia, Pennsylvania, Tom Jacobs is hosting Tomstock 2020. Be there or be square. So what I did, we broke the show up in half, like I said. And then we did an intro and an outro with the same crew that I just introduced you to for each show. And then after that, I thought, hey, I don't have Tony Cook or Bruce Wilson, who also attended the picnic barbecue. Picnic / barbecue, the AML Nation barbecue. So then we did an intro and an outro with them. So then what I did is, you know what the kids do nowadays? They do the mashup. The mashup is where you take 2 songs and put them together, the vocals and instrumental from 2 songs, and mash them up, and you make 1 song. So that's what I did. I was hip with the kids. I did a mashup of these 2 introductions. So first you'll hear Tony and Bruce talking about the picnic, and then you'll have a quick little review with the other guys, and then it'll be right into the show. And it'll be the same at the end. It'll be a quick little Tony and Bruce, or I don't know which the order is. I haven't figured that out yet. I'm not sure if you'll hear me again by myself after this. This may be my only solo gig, and I'm not even going to say subway chime go, because that comes a little later. So just enjoy.
What's a scale legend? I don't know. Lives in the woods like Bigfoot. Yeah. I forgot about that. Listen, I just roared at the end. I heard that.
Yeah, that was pretty good to put it afterwards. Eh?
Yeah.
We were speaking of the episode on July 23rd, the All-Star Variety Hour number 7, that was Scale Legends and Walker Embry.
Yes.
My highlight of that show was, so do you observe the speed limit, Walker? Oh, yeah, all the time. And I said, that's good. That's what I do. Oh, yeah, I always do. So then I eventually had to just move on. And today already I see Walker's posted something about that. Walker, you're awesome, buddy. Keep it up. You guys should go on Instagram and look at the layout.
This stuff is awesome, isn't it?
It is. It's unbelievable what he's doing. He's got a 4x8 N scale layout with a helix in it. It's unbelievable what he's doing. But that's not why we're here.
No?
that's not why.
But we digress as per usual.
Yeah, we digress. At a minute 10, we digress.
Keeping that AML tradition strong and alive.
Strong and alive, exactly. Right to the bitter end. So the reason we're here, I'm here with Bruce, the moderately agitated mail boy.
That's me.
And Tony Cook, who is the editor of Model Railroad News, the editor of HO Collector Quarterly, and the creator of that. He's now. Aren't you now an associate editor of RMC doing their reviews, or are you out of that?
No, I do a collector consist for Otto von Druck. That's, I think, quarterly. One of them is out this summer, and there's another one this fall. So, but yeah, I'm doing that for RMC, and I'm co-editor of HO Collector. The other editor is Tony Lucio in Kentucky.
Yeah,
Two Tonys, no waiting.
2 Tonys and tons of Tycho. That's HO Collector.
There you go.
So this, what do you call it? What is the one thing you do for Otto von Druck?
Collector consist. Remember Railroad Model Craftsman had that? Was it Keith
Willis, wasn't it, I believe?
Yeah.
Did
So,
that column, and
is it published? Or you just do it for him?
it gets published.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Other things Otto asks, he says, hey, do this article. Then he never publishes it. I think he just wants to read, train stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that I write that doesn't ever get published.
Why'd you take your headset off? It was working perfectly.
Because I don't going through that.
It was working. Your sound was perfect. Did you not believe me?
Well, but then I couldn't hear through this, and I was hearing through the computer. So.
Oh, that's the problem. Well, you can take it.
Hang on, let me try this again.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds perfect. Sounds like he's in the studio instead of in the bathroom, in the restroom.
So, see, the mic, I guess, is working, but then the headset doesn't.
Well, if you go to Cam Mic settings, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for the.
There we go. Now I got it. And is the mic working?
It works beautiful.
The dulcet tones of Tony Cook
It's
are
the dulcet
coming
tone.
across the airwaves
There
as
you
we
go.
speak.
Okay, now I think after this little technical hiccup, I think I got it.
Yeah, now it definitely sounds like 2 Tonys, no waiting.
There we go.
There you go.
So this is the introduction for part 1 of the AML-BBQ post-game show. So here's the way it worked. We have almost 3 hours with Tony Cook, Mike Ostertag. No, Tony Cook wasn't there.
No.
Kevin
Well,
Mark.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm here now, though.
You know what was creepy? When I was going to say Kevin Marks, I envisioned him, and your name came out. So I don't get that. So Kevin Marks, Mike Ostertag, Boston Joe Cummings, Jordan, me, and Tom Jacobs. I don't think I missed anybody, and if I did, I apologize. We did 3 hours, and I ended up dividing that into 2 parts. So then, anyways, we did almost 3 hours of the show. So then I got these guys to help me with the intro and outro because we decided it's a 2-parter. One part is the first part today is June the 29th. The second part will be tomorrow, July 29th, and the second part will be tomorrow, July 30th. So then these guys were pooped. The intro and outro were great, but then I realized you guys weren't on the show, but you were at the picnic. So I thought this is going to be perfect. I'll get you guys to do the intros and outros of these 2 shows, and that way you'll be included in the post game, the barbecue post game show, and you'll be able to add your 2 cents worth to the whole event. So
it's like you're bringing the relievers in from the bullpen to wrap it up.
Yeah. except you have an you have an ERA of 7.20.
Yeah, well.
So I'm just looking for can you get me 1 strikeout, or even get the guy to hit a pop fly, anything. I'm looking for 1 out. When we go through the stats, this guy's struggled to hit against you forever. So I'm hoping for the same thing.
It's another Lincoln homer.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that one's gone. Yeah, don't you love it? The reliever comes in and that one's gone.
Right down the middle, first pitch at about 80 mile an hour.
Yeah. You told him, didn't you? Yep.
Anything flies that far should have a stewardess on it.
Yeah, that's right. Bull Durham quotes.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Hit the mascot. What? You just hit the mascot. But we digress.
You know what the text message on my phone right now is?
What's that?
I learned how to make my own tones on my phone. It was a bit of I had done it before, then I hadn't done it for a couple of years, then I got back. I wanted to put Al Michaels doing the call from 1984 Olympics, the Miracle. Do you believe in miracles?
All right. Yes.
I wanted to put that on my phone.
Uh-huh.
So once I finally got that on my phone and I realized how to make, I went through about 18 YouTube videos until I hadn't found the one guy that was, well, you just do this. Well, why couldn't the other 17 guys tell me that? So anyways, I got so excited I could make tones. Right now, the tone for my text message is, Captain, how soon can we land? I can't tell you. You can tell me, I'm a doctor. No, I mean, I'm just not sure. Well, can't you take a guess? Well, not for a couple of hours. You can't take a guess for another 2 hours?
It's kind of like Seinfeld had it all wrapped up. Eh? Life evolves around cartoons and movies and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So this episode of the Barbecue Post-Game Show goes from the beginning when we all meet on Thursday night at Aurora, Illinois, until we arrive back at the Holiday Inn Express and make our way to Rochelle, Illinois.
Okay.
So this one covers all of Friday. There was much carrying on and much shenanigans on Friday, Bruce, and you were available for most of that.
Well, as far as I know, I was there for all of it.
Yeah, exactly. And did you enjoy that day?
It was great entertainment. What with train delays and being made an extra, and seeing guys spraying the track with power washers, and then finding the bus, and then having hot dogs, and the incident commander wondering what we're doing. It was a great day.
The only thing I couldn't remember when we were laying the story about trying to find the buses, how did you end up on the phone?
Because you got the phone number of the real driver instead of the guy they gave you who never answered his phone. So I called him on my phone to find out where he was.
Right.
So I was talking to our real bus driver while we were talking to the guy, keeping him online, because you had already had some incidents with, shall we say, lack of communication on the other end, being cut off and put on hold and whatnot.
Right, exactly. And so then that's right. So then I got Ryan, who is a very nice young man, but I said, please don't hang up on me. Please, I'm begging you. Don't
I don't think those were your exact words. Yeah, let's go with that.
So this is the first half. So guys, did we have fun at the picnic or what?
Absolutely.
Fun was an understatement.
Now, Tom, did you have fun? Oh yeah, you weren't there. You were building, but you had fun.
I was building Legos. I had a great time.
All right. Any highlights that we need to record about? We need to talk about for the first half. Well, I wonder how far we got. We probably only got to like the end of Friday in the first half.
Well, that was the first half of our weekend, so that
it was the first. Sense. Exactly. All right. We're gonna do the subway chime go. Oh, Tom, you love this. You love this. You think it should be a T-shirt?
I do.
All right, buddy. Let her rip.
Subway chime go.
Room, and we're going to be like famous moments in AML history, and here we are.
A blooper show.
We're all smoking like 1 inch thick Cubans.
What is that noise?
That
was Joe doing his elephant impression.
That was a spit take.
Oh, is that a spit take?
Yeah, without the spit.
That's a great way to open the show. That is a great way to open the show.
Wasn't there a line in the Blues Brothers song, "What do you want for nothing"?
Yeah, exactly.
Rubber biscuit?
Rubber biscuit? Bow, bow, bow.
Every time
For you kids out there, that was in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Actually, that song goes back to, I forget who did it first, but that goes back to the 40s.
Wasn't it Gordy that said he didn't know what the Blues Brothers was?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's scary. That is scary. That Gordy Robinson, Mr. Cool, doesn't know what the Blues Brothers is.
Well, at least he didn't say, I know that the Blues Brothers are the at least he's not saying that, oh yeah, I know the Blues Brothers. That was that thing that John Goodman did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good point.
At least At least he's honest. So what we're gonna have to do at Tomstock 2020, when the sun goes down behind the barn, we can get one of those projectors and we can show movies on the side of the train barn.
So Tom Jacobs was to join us tonight, and he decided instead he would take his lovely wife, the lovely Debbie, out to dinner. The lovely Deb, out to dinner. And then I said, "Well, do you want to join when later?" And he says, "Yes, we can make it a humorous walk-on."
I think I know where this is going to go.
Yeah, who's going to tell him that every time he comes on, it's a humorous walk-on?
Today is no different.
Yeah, all right. So, okay. So who's going to play the part? I was going to actually have Tom Jacobs play the part of Bruce, the mildly agitated mailboy. Jordan, do you want to do that?
I mean, I guess I can.
Is Mailboy still on vacation?
Mailboy is still. This is the third annual AML-BBQ picnic post-game show. The game is over. The winner has been decided, and now we are sitting at the desk down in the corner in the background is the field, and then we're gathered around the oval desk discussing the big game and how it went. So, Cosmo, do you feel confident enough to play the part of the mildly agitated mailboy?
Not really, but we'll give it a shot.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, mailboy. I'll just call you Cosmo, but you can be the mailboy. That's what it is. You will fill in all his questions. Kramer, is this the first podcast since the last podcast?
Let me check, and it is.
Perfect. That's perfect. All right. Well, that was quite the experience. I think it all went pretty well, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, the mob. I mean, we do have to say the mob to meet Peter Borchers was kind of hectic.
Well, that was huge. We'll get to that. Hang on. You know what? Here's how we'll start.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, man.
No.
It's not working.
Oh, the studio's way too small for that.
It's jammed up. My whistle is broken. My whistle is broken.
Oh, what a shame. Oh, unbelievable.
What did you buy? The self-destructs and a weak whistle?
Joe, I am going to be on the next damn plane out to Boston, and you know what I'm going to do with that whistle?
So I don't understand why you guys are so upset by the whistle. Here's what happened. We all met where did we all meet for, we all met in Aurora, Illinois, and which was a really beautiful Holiday Inn Express right beside, what roundhouse was it? Anybody?
Two Brothers Roundhouse.
Yeah, but what railroad was it?
It was
Chicago,
Burlington, and Quincy.
Or formerly Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy.
Right. And what was it?
Prince of Railroads.
What's that?
It was the Prince of Railroads.
There was a Prince of Railroads. It was a former roundhouse, was it not? Was it a former CB&Q one?
Yes, you're correct.
All right.
And it was a very interesting roundhouse because it was one of those roundhouses where it was a complete circle.
Yeah. So I mean, they somehow managed to save it, and they turned it into this huge. The whole thing was a restaurant, wasn't it?
Restaurant, brewery.
Part of it was the restaurant. Part of it was the Metro ticket office.
Oh, okay. Is that where we ended up on? That's where we ended up on Friday morning when it's in the ticket office. Was the other part of the roundhouse?
Yes.
Very cool. So, anyways, on Thursday night, we all met in Aurora, Illinois, and at 8:00, we had dinner at the Two Brothers restaurant in the roundhouse, and it was a lot of fun. And then the next one, it was, do we have anything? Oh, I had what did I have? The short rib sandwich based on Joe's recommendation. Were you there the night before, Joe?
Yes, sir.
And who did you go to dinner with the night before?
I didn't actually go to dinner with them. We arrived separately. We're not allowed to travel together for safety reasons.
Right.
I ran into that rugged Peter Borchers.
A rugged action star.
He was traveling incognito.
Okay.
So I walked up, I shook his hand, but I didn't make a fuss because I didn't want any crowds gathering.
I mean, we do have to talk about this, Joe. He was in such cognito that you didn't realize he went with us to Lombard Hobbies on Thursday morning.
I remember that. This was Wednesday night.
Oh.
When did you get there, Joe?
Left. I got there at Wednesday at about 7:30, 8 p.m. Central Time.
And you left at what time your place?
Midnight.
Really? You left at midnight?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was expecting to have gotten there a lot quicker. I would have gotten there a lot quicker, but I made a stop in Toledo.
At some hot dog place.
Yes, I wanted to check out the original Tony Paco's Cafe.
And how was it?
It was very good.
So did you? I'm sorry. Did you sleep that night, or did you just jump in the car and take off?
No, I sort of snoozed.
While you were driving?
Yes.
Attaboy.
I snoozed all through Tuesday, and I actually went to bed around 4 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And then I set my alarm. I got up at 11, took a shower. I'm sorry, I didn't leave at midnight. I left at 2 a.m. I got up at midnight.
Oh, okay. And you left at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So I guess you weren't sleeping in your guest room then, eh?
No.
On that slab of cement.
Folding slab of cement.
Yeah, the folding slab of cement that you supplied me with.
And guess what? Guess what? Even though I left at 2 a.m., the traffic was still pretty horrendous around here.
Really, eh?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, all right.
That's exactly why I left at 2 a.m. I didn't want to be dealing with that.
All right. So you ended up having dinner by yourself on Wednesday evening, but on Thursday, you and Cosmo and his friend Ryan and Peter, you guys all did a little bit of rail fanning and shopping.
Well, Wednesday night was the night I ran into, had a surreptitious meeting with Peter.
Yeah, I was trying to get by Wednesday. It seemed like it was starting to get boring. We'd covered a lot of Wednesday, so I was trying to move on to the next day.
Well, there's a lot more that happened.
Well, then spit it out, man. This isn't your first podcast. You've been on here before. You've listened to yourself driving into work into Boston. You must know that you must know the procedure.
I was just joking. That's all that happened.
Pitter patter.
Yeah.
Let's get at her.
Yeah, pitter patter. All right, somebody tell me. All right, Jordan, tell me what happened. Give me the short version of what happened on Thursday during the day.
Well, me and Ryan left around 5 a.m. Got into Aurora, found Joe and Peter Borchard sitting in the lobby. We met up with them, went to Downers Grove and did some rail fanning. And then we went over to Lombard Hobbies. At which point, I believe, in the words of my friend Ryan, I bought half the store. Not meaning to.
What's Lombard Hobbies like?
If you're looking for a lot of stuff for a good price, it's really good.
When you say a lot of stuff, what exactly is that?
They have, in HO&N, they have a large selection of miscellaneous rolling stock locomotives and freight cars. Wouldn't you agree, Joe?
Quite a bit.
And that's
why I left my wallet in the car.
Does it compare in size to Des Plaines? Bigger, smaller?
It's definitely physically smaller.
Oh, yeah.
But they have for what they carry, they have a lot of product.
Okay. But somebody told me, I think, that they buy up, old lines and stuff like that. Does that sound like right? They buy up stuff and then they sell, like stuff that's other East State sales and all that kind of stuff. Does it seem like that?
No, most of the stuff I bought was new. They had a lot of. I think they might have done that in the past, but I know they've kind of started drifting towards more of like what Train World is, where it's a large site, because they do a lot of online sales. From how I was talking with the gentleman who was there.
Okay. All right, and then you guys headed back to the hotel.
Yes.
All right, and then we all sat around waiting for me to show up. Is that basically what happened?
For the most part, yes.
Joe, didn't we do a trolley? Didn't we go to a... Western Springs is springing to mind. And
Hey man, you were driving. I was just along.
No, I wasn't. This was afterwards. This is when we met up with Patrick Lavallee, I believe.
Yeah, you went to Jack Doyle's place, and
Oh,
he has one
yeah,
of the
that's
best
right.
traction layouts in the country. And you guys conveniently forgot about that. This isn't. Come on, it's not S-scale.
Yeah.
No,
No, Jack
now
Doyle's
listen.
layout is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now listen, you can't knock after what you guys saw and witnessed at the Plains Hobbies. You can no longer knock S-scale.
No, S-scale's the perfect scale.
We'll still knock it around a bit, Spoon. I mean,
So what was the fella's name?
Jack Doyle.
And Jack Doyle's layout was well worth a look-see?
Oh, absolutely.
oh yeah. The
Yeah.
detail's really, really well done on it.
H-O-O, what scale?
Oh.
Oh, you're trying to decide, or it's O scale?
No, it was O scale.
Okay.
Oh, scale trolley.
And how far from Aurora, where in the Aurora area was it located exactly?
Western Springs, which I...
Did you guys know that there was going to be a post-game show, or did I spring it on you?
Here's the problem,
I think they're just
Lionel.
waking up right now.
They just they put me in the back of a car, kind of like you guys did when we went on the Amherst show, on the Amherst road trip. I got put in the back of a car, so I have no clue where we were.
All right.
Yes,
Right.
Western Springs is east of Aurora.
Thank you, Hard Part. Thanks, Kevin.
Mhm.
All right, so then let's move on to Wednesday night. We all went to dinner at the Two Brothers, which was the suggestion of David Start. David, are you here?
I am here.
Were you pleased? That place seemed pretty nice.
Very enjoyable meal.
Yeah, I had the short rib sandwich based on what Joe had suggested. And
I had pulled pork.
you had pulled pork?
Mm-hmm.
What did you have, Jordan?
I can't remember.
What did you have, Kevin?
I had it was a Reuben. It was either like a brisket Reuben. It wasn't your traditional corned beef Reuben. I have a picture, but of course, and it kind of looks like a brisket Reuben, which was
I think
equally
that
delicious.
is. I know I
Jordan-
had fried pickles.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I stole one. We thought Jordan ordered like 4 orders of fried pickles because they brought them all to him. But apparently other people who were allowing for dinner ordered them too, but somehow they all ended up at Jordan's spot. So
The waiter was a little confused.
Yes.
yeah, just a little bit. So we had to help him out with that and relieve him of some fried pickles.
Yeah, all of a sudden, fried pickles started showing up like crazy.
They were falling from the sky.
Yeah, fried pickles fell from the sky. And Joe, you ordered last. You perused the menu and then ended up having the short rib sandwich.
Yeah, I thought maybe I might go for something different, but in the end, short rib sandwich is where it's at.
Yeah, the ribless.
Got to go with what works.
The ribless
Yeah.
short rib. The ribless.
Yes,
All right.
ribless short-
Yeah. All right. Okay. So then we hung around on Thursday night, and then we all went to bed, got some nappy time, and then we got up, had breakfast together, and then we then it was as we gathered outside the hotel. There was 15 or 16 of us. As we gathered outside the hotel, Joe says, "Hey, I got whistles for you guys."
Lionel, you are forgetting a very important moment there.
All
I
right,
have to
well, then
stop you in your story.
Feel free to jump in.
We met Nick from Switzerland,
Yes, we did.
A Swedish guy from Switzerland.
a Swedish guy from Switzerland.
Yeah, a Swedish guy
Who's-
from Switzerland.
Who speaks better English than most of us?
Yeah.
Hey, time out, guys. Time out. Hey, Lionel.
Yeah.
Lionel.
Yeah.
Lionel. Make a little note that Jordan's actually kind of doing better than Bruce actually does.
Yeah.
With remember, don't let Bruce hear this, though.
No.
Okay, he might get a complex. I'm
Yeah,
just
you
saying.
might. Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be attacked at Amherst
Right.
next year for taking over the male boys' experiences.
Speaking of Amherst, I heard little Mike Wachowski say he's going to go every year now. But that's another subject altogether. Okay, so we gathered outside the hotel, outside the front doors to take a picture. And some point in there, I don't specifically remember when, Joe pulls out these 3 whistles.
God,
Well, I'm looking at the
Christ.
picture right now that was taken of us in front of the hotel that was posted on the Modelers Life page, and in the picture there are no whistles. So that event happened after the photo was taken.
Right. So sometime between when we had breakfast and when we got to the station, which was just a walk across a large parking lot, we somehow in there we got whistles. Joe gave a whistle to me, he gave a whistle to Spoon, and he kept one for himself.
Single worst decision of the entire weekend.
So
I'm not disputing that.
Well, what was I supposed to do with the whistle? I don't understand. What was it I was supposed to do with it? Was it just an ornament?
Not blow it so much?
Lionel, it was to keep Joe from walking away.
Maybe not. Oh my God! Maybe not.
He did that anyway.
Yeah,
I know, but we'll get to that part.
Yeah, maybe not blow it at the police stand at Union Station. That might have been a good idea.
And then we all got our tickets. We ambled over to the station. We got our tickets. We all ambled out onto the platform. There was quite a few people actually waiting for the train.
It was a Cubs game that day.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was our original plan. We were going to go do a Cubs game, but then we came up with a different and better plan, I think. And so there was quite a few people waiting for the train. And then the train was 15 minutes late?
Almost 20, I would think.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes late. You know, we found out once we got our tickets that things were being delayed, and at the time of us getting the tickets, there was no mention on when service would start back up. Apparently, there was a pedestrian incident further down the line. That person, unfortunately, didn't go home that day. And so we kind of hung around the station and the tracks, not knowing when or what time the train would show up.
Yes.
But it did.
It did, not too long afterwards. We only had about a 20-minute wait.
However, that was the beginning of the whole thing. That was the beginning of the whole Joe escapade. Because here the train shows up, and I'm walking out, and then all of a sudden I turn around. I'm like, "Hey, you guys, the train's here." Yep. And they were waiting for David, and you were in on this time, David. And the next thing you know, here comes Huey, Louie, and Dewey out of the train station. I'm like, "Hey, we're all the way up here at the front of the train," which was pretty cool. And it was, I don't know, just keep going, because this reliving it a second time is going to give me a headache, I think.
Well, when we started to get concerned that we couldn't find Joe, fortunately, I had a whistle and was able to alert him.
Unfortunately, you were on the platform and I was in the station.
Yeah, and I was able to alert him that the train is arriving, and you better get out. You better get out here.
Well, we actually had to call Joe because we had no idea where he was. And it's like, who is Joe's number? We need to call him and tell him that we are boarding right now.
Well, it wasn't just to Joe's credit. It was Joe, David, and I believe Nick.
Oh, was it Nick as well? Okay.
Was Nick involved in that also?
I think so.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so it was the three of them. Now, that is where things kind of start to unravel afterwards. Very slowly, one strand at a time.
So then we all get on the train, and we're sitting there, and we're all ready. We're in the front car, and we're having a great time. And just before the train leaves, in comes and sits down right beside me is none other than our very own Tracy Driscoll Boyd. She just made the train. Had it not been late, she wouldn't have made it in time.
Right. She actually was messaging us and was asking where we were. And I responded back saying, we're in the front car. And if you can get here, get here. And yeah, literally maybe a minute or two before the train pulled out of the station, she comes running in.
Yeah.
And sits down. That was amazing.
Yeah. Without a ticket, she just stormed the train.
Which is awesome. Yeah. The look on her face when, can I buy a ticket from you? Talking to the conductor. Can I buy a ticket from you? He looks down at her and says, no.
I was going to.
No, you have to, you could go online and do it, but.
Wasn't her exact words does that mean I get kicked off at the next stop? I believe she said that.
Well, that wouldn't have happened.
No.
So
We've let somebody into this. Somebody's banging on the door of the studio, and they want in.
Oh,
Let's see. Oh, hi, Tom.
Oh, what's going on?
Everybody's glad to see you.
how was
camera off?
how was dinner?
Dinner.
So anyway,
Yeah.
let's keep going.
So anyway, Zach, Tracy just gets sitting down. Tracy just gets sitting down just before the train goes away, which was great because it was awesome to have her come along with us on the whole day. And away we went.
And the train ride was up until Downers Grove was relatively uneventful, even through the incident area.
Oh yeah, what happened just at
hang
the
on.
start? Yeah, just what happened?
there is
time out.
nothing.
There was
Something
actually a
interesting.
big. Yeah, you might not have seen this, Boone, but so I'm up in front of the train, and fortunately, we were able to get in the front car, and we could actually look out the window, which we heard later was the most dangerous place to be on the train. You know, in case it hit a dump truck or something, we would be the first ones to go. But that's another story. And so when you pull out of the station in Aurora, you're actually heading north, and shortly after that, the train makes a big sweeping curve to head east towards the city. And as we were going around the curve, myself and Mr. Borchards were right up by the front door looking out the window, and then all of a sudden, we must have changed tracks or went through a turnout or a crossing, and all of a sudden the front door of the train slides open about 8-9 inches. And there's just a look of terror of, did that just really happen?
It was when we went through that first set of crossovers.
Yeah.
At like 40 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour. It was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah,
we
the
would have
door-
pulled you back in eventually.
Yeah, you know, we almost lost Peter, you know, but we just would have kept on with our day because he would have wanted us to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said to you later, Kevin. I said, well, if we had lost him, the podcast would have gone something like this. So not long after we left the station, the door flew open, and Peter flew out of the car and was sucked under the train. So, anyways, after that,
We could have just recruited the conductor because he was British too.
Yeah,
he would have fit right in.
Yeah, exactly.
As Peter said, it's kind of odd talking to an American conductor and him sounding like he's back at home.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even see that, but you're right. That's a good point.
Yeah, and then hold on. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
So a little further down the line, we changed tracks. We were on the far left track, or the northern track, and we crossed two other tracks. And as we were crossing over, let's just say it was a little rough. And
Yes.
Peter and I were kind of standing up towards the front, and all of a sudden Peter lost his footing a little bit, and he went to just grab something to hold on to it, and the only thing you could grab onto was the handle of the door. And I'm like, do not touch that. And, you know, normally you would think that there would be some sort of like grab iron to hold on to, you know, while you're there. But no, there was nothing. Everything was padded. It's almost like they knew we were coming.
All right. Well, you're in a commuter train, and there's seats in those things.
Yeah, you guys should have tried using them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we couldn't see out the front. So, you know, we did what we had to do, and we reacted the way we did. So all was well.
I never even I said to Tracy at one point, I'm going to see if I can look out the front window. And she says, what for? Those guys aren't going to give up their spots.
We did. We let you up there. Anyone who wanted to come up was able to look out the front of the window. No person was denied a view from the front.
For
if
about
they
5
so
seconds
chose.
before you got thrown back into your seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to look out this window and see must answer me these questions. For those of you playing at home, that's a Monty Python reference.
Yes. So then then it was supposed to be local, stopping at every station, but because everything was behind, once we got to, was it Downers Grove and they made it an express?
Yeah,
No, it was.
it was Downers. I thought it was Downers Grove
We
because
sat there. We sat there
we
for
sat
a
there for
while.
that
We went to
ambulance
the next
sitting there.
station.
Was it the next station? I thought we went right from that one where the ambulance was because the conductor was sitting outside smoking a cigarette for like 25 minutes, it felt like.
No, it was the next station
Wow.
because
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, we didn't stop at the station where the incident was. There were some people on the platform with pressure washers that were still finishing up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was the following station.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Not
so,
eventful at all.
yeah. So then, anyways, it was an express train the rest of the way.
Yeah, I've never actually heard or have been in that type of situation, but I guess when there's an accident, you kind of have to adjust the schedule. We sat there for about 10 minutes, and then they announced that if you have a stop, if you plan on getting off between here and Chicago, you need to get off now, and the next train will be a local, and you can pick up that one and continue on your journey. And then our train turned into an express train.
Which put us about 12 minutes ahead.
Yeah.
And then we got there, and it didn't really take long to get to Union Station after that.
No, we were flying through some towns going 71, 72 miles an hour. And that's pretty exciting going through station stops at 72 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the track actually, it actually seemed like it kind of lunged from side to side in some spots. Like it was really, we were really flying along when we went through some turnouts and stuff. Thanks
It
for.
kind of didn't really seem to happen until we entered Union Station.
Yeah. Well, there was one spot earlier on I thought we were kind of, whoa.
That was me just pushing you. I was standing behind you, so you didn't realize what was going on.
So
I think that was when we went through that set of double crossovers where we crossed from
It was a little rough.
from the number 1 to the number 3 main.
Thank you, David. Thank you for verifying what I said. So, okay, we get to the station. And, what?
Nothing.
What?
That's just funny.
What, David verifying what I said?
No, you verify. Thanking David for verifying. That's funny.
That reminds me.
Well, he's the only one here with enough marbles to make you guys don't even make up a half a deck of cards together.
Maybe if you would introduce us, we would.
That's a good idea.
Collect our thoughts a little bit more.
That's a good idea. We're only 30 minutes in. Well, I was waiting until Tom came.
Right.
I can hardly wait till this is a really good show and we have a producer holding up signs, making it look like I know what I'm doing. Yeah, you might become the producer there, Hard Part.
Wow. I got promoted from food guy to producer.
Yeah, well, I said might. Don't get excited. There's proper channels and forms that have to be filled out.
Oh, I hate the forms.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll introduce everybody from left to right. We have Jordan Cosmo Kramer, all the way from Cincinnati.
Hello.
And then we have David Start. David, I love to be on podcast Start. David, Mr. Microphone Start.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
I hope he's not overcompensating with that microphone.
Yeah.
Because that's a little intimidating.
He's got the biggest microphone of any of us. And then we have Boston Joe, all the way from Hanover, Massachusetts. None other than Boston Joe Cummings.
Hello.
What kind of mileage were you? What kind of mileage? And then we have all the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin, home of the frozen thunder of Lambeau Field. None other than our very own Mike the Spoon Ostertag.
Howdy.
Mike the Sweaty Spoon Ostertag.
God. Miles I got off. Holy cow.
And then, of course,
We'll get to that.
And then, of course, we have Kevin Hard Part Marks, all the way from Appleton, Wisconsin, also known as Nashville North.
Absolutely.
All right. And then finally, this would be, I think we could say, this is the official kickoff of Tom Stock 2020. He's arrived for the post-game show of this year because he couldn't be bothered going to the picnic. He could constantly message us the whole time, but he couldn't actually go to the picnic. Is none
He
other
was too busy hyperventilating.
yeah. Is none other than our very own Tom, Super Agent 0013 Jacobs.
Get
Sorry.
used to it, buddy. You're going to be
Sorry.
doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me. I wanted to be there, but they wouldn't let me on the plane with the paper bag.
Yeah. Well, you should have. You should
Oh,
have.
come on. Someone brought a Lego item all the way from the UK, and they got on the plane just fine.
Yeah,
That's
and
for later.
you should have flown Southwest because they have rush seating. They have stadium seating. They have concert seating.
And apparently they have seating in different sizes, but that's the story.
Yeah, that's
for
another
later
story.
on.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And you get the seatbelt helper.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, well, that's all right. That's just after he was dipping. Somebody was dipping their finger into my milkshake. But that's
Well, as they say, we'll get to that in a minute.
yeah. We got to keep our pace up. So, anyways, we get to Union Station. We get off the train. I'm walking along beside Bruce, the moderately agitated male boy. Everything is actually going pretty well up to this point. And then, until somebody says,
Where's Joe?
no.
Well, we've been saying that all day.
Yeah, we were well into the where's Joe. Kevin, would you like to repeat what was said?
No, I would not.
Oh, can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Here it comes.
Things seem to be going off without a hitch. This is great.
No, wasn't that after the L?
No,
I thought that was after.
No, that was
thought
in
that was
Union
after
Station. That was before
Okay.
we met Steven. We were barely off the train, and then the starboard engine fell off. So yes, so everything was going well, and then Kevin said, "Wow, this is going off without a hitch." Then we met up with Steven Haworth, which was great because he had taken the train in from where he lives out in Des Plaines, and so we met up with him. But by this time, it had become painfully obvious that Joe was going to be a straggler.
It was like herding baby ducks.
Yeah.
I think that was his
Hey, just
nickname
be
at
thankful I
one
didn't
point.
imprint onto you.
I know.
Then we got into Union Station. We toured the station thanks to Steven. We all did some business, and then we took the escalator back up, and we were outside.
Hang on. Well, we had to stop and get a group picture in the Great Concourse.
That was a great picture too, by the way. I really like that.
And that's also posted on the Modelers Life Facebook page.
Yes.
You mean the picture that nice young lady was going to take, and we were taking too long because we had to wait for Joe.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden, here comes Joe, straggling.
No, here
over
comes
by
the
everybody.
whistle out.
And then all of a sudden, there goes the girl, and Lionel turns and starts running after this girl that nobody knows.
She was very
sweet. She was very nice.
She had very generously come up to us voluntarily and said, "Would you like me to take your picture?" And we went, "Yeah." But
And then we went, "Where's Joe?"
And it was taking us so long to organize. She had wandered off, so I ran off to her and I went into a full sprint.
At that point, she could have used a whistle of her own.
That before you blew the whistle at the cop.
I would have let her use mine.
Oh, it's funny. I was standing down the far end of the Great Hall. I hear a whistle, so I go walking towards the group. I hear the whistle again, and as I hear that whistle, somebody's sitting, some kid, some punk, and I don't mean punk like you little punk. I mean like punk rocker type kid, looks up and goes, "Who's blowing that damn whistle?"
And you
None
just
of your concern, son.
I just gave him the side eye stink.
I would like to get outside, and we started walking towards the L, and it was halfway to the L that we suddenly realized why Joe had given us whistles.
Now it's a good idea.
Yeah, then
God.
Well, wait, hold on one moment. it was an absolutely gorgeous day in downtown.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Was
I
it
mean,
ever?
The weather and the temperature was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. Everything in downtown Chicago was like popping.
Oh
Everything
yeah.
It was fantastic.
Wait do you see the picture I took on the L for our cover shot? It's spectacular. It's spectacular. It's one of the best pictures I ever took on my
See,
little phone
I
here.
got a feeling it's got the back of my head, the back
Nope.
of Kevin's head.
No, this is a
And
legit.
me.
This is a legitimate shot. I think it was our second time around the L when you guys finally let it give me a chance to get by the door for 5 minutes. So, anyways, we're walking towards the L, and we stop, and we started to straggle out, and then all of a sudden we stop and goes, "Where's Joe?" Which was basically the theme of the day. Where's Joe?
I should have worn a toque and a red and white jumper.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
we should have had somebody taking photos. We could have made a child's book.
Kevin, we can't. We've got to backtrack a little bit. We're under a time crunch here, but we got to backtrack a little bit because you and I got into a bit of a dust up the night before, or I think it was the night before. You and I got into a bit of a dust up.
How so?
Well,
I may have blocked that out.
yes. I had special shirts made for the picnic.
Oh,
That were actually David Start's idea. So it was David who insisted that I make these shirts. He actually said to me he wouldn't come unless there were shirts. And,
yeah, that sounds like David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we had our own very own T-shirts. So I assumed that we were all going to wear them into Chicago. And you went, "No, we're not doing that." And I'm like, "Yeah, we are." And you're like, "No, we're not doing that." And I'm like, "Yeah, we are." And you're like, "No, we're not doing that." And later,
running security for that.
Yeah, later on, I realized you were 100% correct. But at the time, I was like, "You're no fun." But then you decided that you had pointed out to me we would have looked really good, 15 of us all wearing the exact same shirt,
That's right.
wandering
Instead,
around.
we had like 6 wearing yellow.
Yeah, well, yeah, 6 wearing the marginally adequate shirts, exactly. So yeah, we had that dust up, but you were right. We saved the shirts for barbecue day. So okay, so we're halfway.
Right, and
Go ahead.
didn't we look fantastic on barbecue day in our pictures, all wearing the shirt? And it made total sense at the park because everyone knew it's like, yeah, there's a gang over there of train enthusiasts, so just stay away from them.
Didn't I just less than 2 minutes ago admit that you were 100% correct? Do you have to beat it to death?
Yes, you did.
I've already said you're
No,
correct.
not at all. I'm acknowledging your acknowledgement, and I appreciate your acknowledgement.
Okay. So,
You'd beat it
anyways,
to death, wouldn't you?
yeah, I would. Yeah, I would beat it to death. Absolutely. So halfway to the L, that's when the whistles became important. Jordan, this was a highlight for you. So why don't you describe what happened?
So me and Mike are walking along talking, and all of a sudden, as the phrase for this podcast should be, "Where's Joe?" is uttered. And it's when me and Mike turn, and to our horror, see him standing in the middle of a 3-lane street with 4-lane with oncoming traffic, taking photos.
To be correct, this ain't my first rodeo, kid. To be correct, it was a red light. I knew what I was getting myself into.
So fortunately,
and also, like I told you, the Japanese guys were looking at you saying, "What's the deal with the guy with the camera?"
Yeah.
So fortunately, as cars were swerving and motorists' eyes were the size of saucers trying to decide what to do, I saved the day. I took my whistle, placed it carefully in my between my lips, and let out a large and a healthy whistle, and everything came to a screeching halt in Chicago, and we saved Joe from certain doom.
Save it from himself. Not be the last time of the day.
But yes,
shut
as you guys said, the day in Chicago, if you could have picked a perfect summer day where it was in the mid-70s, there was a breeze, the sun was out, there was some slight clouds.
Day.
It was the perfect day in downtown Chicago, and it needed to be enjoyed.
And you know what, Tom? As we were walking down the street, I turned to Steve Haworth, and guess what I said?
Wish Tom were here.
No, they call me the breeze.
It was almost like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We're going to have a great day today. and Cameron needs a good day, where it was Joe needs a good day. And Joe
This
got
is
a
for
good day
Cameron, who doesn't think he's seen anything good today.
today.
So then we made it to Quincy State.
And then
That's when things went horribly wrong.
So then we made it to Quincy Station, which was really cool. Anybody that's never been to Quincy Station on the L, they could shoot a 1920s movie there without changing a thing.
isn't that something? The way that stood the test of time.
Yeah,
All
it's
these
really
years.
cool.
It was really cool. It was really cool.
It's just amazing.
And do all the stations look like that, or are they all more modern?
Each one had a different flavor, it looked like to me.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all a little different, but Quincy was the most iconic, I think.
Yeah, we had a little trouble getting our tickets, but then somebody bought. Oh, who was that? Ken Zista bought a bunch of tickets and started handing them out.
Who was the last one to come through the turnstiles?
Who was the one that got stuck standing at the end of the line?
Tom, would you like to guess who was the last one through the turnstiles?
Well, judging from what I've heard so far, I'm going to have to say Joe.
Ding, ding, ding. You are a winner.
So then we got on the L, and we rode the L, and we decided we'd ride it to the Merchant Mart and get off and walk up and over and back again. And when
it was pretty fun doing that. That was actually pretty fun the way we were doing it. It was cool.
It was very cool. And then we we did 2 laps, and my team won.
Oh,
what was cool was on the first trip, the motorman opening the door so we could. How would you say you could get a better view of the L?
Right. Well, in the vestibule up front, the whole front of the L car is enclosed, and there's a door going into the vestibule, and then there's a little motorman's compartment. And we were up front, being goofy rail fans, and actually taking pictures and talking about the L. And we made a few station stops, and the motorman must have heard us and opened the door and motioned us to come up front. So now we were in the lead car, right up front, cameras against the front window, getting some spectacular footage of the L in downtown Chicago. That was amazing. Our second cab ride of the day.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't even noon.
And by this time, I had called the bus company to verify that our bus was in fact waiting for us, and the number of the driver they had gave me was not being picked up. So I was starting to get a little concerned. So we rode the L twice, which was great fun. My team won, my team consisted of Spoon, Kramer, David Start and his brother, and Nick Carlson, and Tracy. So that was the winning team.
But you told us we were all winners.
I was being nice, Kevin.
I ran.
Winners are wieners.
Yeah, I ran anchor.
Yeah, exactly. So then we got off the L, down onto the street. I'm trying to call the bus company. I'm getting no answer from the driver. There is no bus. So then I'm trying to call the company, and I'm getting no answer. So finally I get a hold of somebody. First guy ends up hanging up on me. Second guy was Ryan. And I'm like, where's our bus? Well, I don't know. He was actually a very helpful young man, but there was no bus. And he's like, well, I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm like, well, that's great. And he was very, very helpful, but there was no bus. There's no bus. We kept telling him where we were. And finally, somehow, Bruce, the moderately agitated mail boy, he ends up on the line with somebody. I think the bus driver called him because they had given me the wrong bus driver's name and cell phone number. So, but eventually, a half an hour afterwards, our bus showed up, a full-size highway coach.
For how many people?
16 people.
16 people. We had a full-size bus in downtown Chicago, right by the L station.
And what was even better was that during this time, we're looking for the bus, and I think it was me, Spoon, and Kevin standing out in the middle of what would that be? Quincy Street that runs underneath the L?
Yeah, the one lane was under construction, so we were
Construction.
able to
So we're all just standing out there.
yeah, we were looking around. There's a lot of sights to see in downtown Chicago when you're just standing there waiting for a bus.
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah.
It's funny the things you see when you're far from home.
it is.
It is.
And some things you don't care to see ever again.
Some things that make you want to go home.
Yeah.
There was one or two people that decided that they didn't actually need to go to the restroom in order to go to the restroom.
Yeah, this downtown Chicago became the restroom.
Yeah, downtown Chicago. So then we found our bus. His name was Hervé, I think. And anyways, Kevin got a great picture of me talking on the phone with the bus company, but my hat was crooked. So it was so close to being one of the best pictures of me ever. But my hat was just a little crooked. I looked very businesslike. I was like, I got it all happening. I got the whistle in place. It was all going on. So we get on.
There was a sense of urgency in your look. I'm
Yes.
looking at that picture right now, and I don't think your hat is that crooked, but you were in action right there.
Yeah.
And the whistle did play off on your green shirt.
Oh, it
too.
looked great. That was the other thing. The whistle looked great on my green shirt. It was perfect. Perfect. Joe, you couldn't have picked a better color. So then we get on the bus, and I'm still talking to the lady. So now we're a half hour behind, and I said to her, "Okay, so it's 2:00. I ordered the bus for 6 hours. I'm assuming we have the bus till 8:00." And she goes, "Well, I'm not sure what our policy is about that." To which
Obviously, her first.
Oops.
yeah. What were you going to say,
So
David?
close.
What were you going to say, David?
I said, obviously, her first day.
Yeah, maybe.
Is this the same one that may or may not have said that it may be a scuzzy bus company?
Yeah, that was on Thursday or Wednesday. I said, so I calling up and I'm trying to. It was done. Go Charters is the name of the company. So on Wednesday, I'm trying to find out where's the information about my bus and some sort of confirmation. And I'm talking to a first level person, and I said to her, "This isn't some kind of scuzzy bus company I've rented, is it?" And she goes, "Well, I don't know."
Oops. What do you think about that, Tom?
Yeah. And I go, "What?" And I said, "You don't know if it's scuzzy?" She says, "No, I don't know." I said, "Do you know what scuzzy means?" She says, "Yeah." And I said, "So is this a scuzzy bus company? Have I made a mistake?" And she says, "Well, I'll have to put you through to my supervisor." To which Nicole assured me it was not a scuzzy bus company, but there was no chance of it showing up on time. So anyways, now we're on the bus, and I'm asking the lady, so let me get this straight. You're a half hour late. All I want is my 6 hours, and you're not sure what company policy is? She actually had to get back to me on that. But after some serious negotiations, I got a minor financial gift of sorry for the inconvenience. So it all worked out.
Was it enough to buy ice cream for everybody?
Oh, that would have been nice.
Oh, we had a chance of getting ice cream?
I know.
Yeah, not a chance in hell. You guys know better than that.
Later on, I actually had a milkshake, but
Don't get ahead, Lionel.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
All right.
That's too classic. You guys got to remember, it's Lionel gets a free lunch, not Lionel buys everybody ice cream.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember that.
Well,
That was last year.
we then gotta.
That was last year.
Yeah.
So what was crazy was the traffic was so bad. I was a huge backup because the traffic was so bad because halfway along or 3/4 of the way along the freeway, there was a grass fire. And what we could determine, we talked to several authorities. We kicked it around. We ran it up the flagpole. And what we determined was, at the same time Kevin said, everything's going off without a hitch, this grass on the side of the highway just instantly combusted to create a gigantic traffic jam.
Poof.
First stop was SuperDawg. SuperDawg was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good.
That was really fun.
That was
you will not find another hot dog place like that anyplace else.
you get quite a bit of food. If you go away from there hungry, it's your own fault.
I ordered too much food.
I ordered too much food. I got Kevin bought my lunch, which was lovely.
Yeah, God forbid, Joe, you do anything to maybe not slow yourself down by ordering too much food.
So Kevin was very organized the entire day, and so Kevin was looking at the menu on the bus. He had his laptop. He had his he brought his backpack. So I brought buttons for everybody. I brought my the cord for my laptop in case I didn't want to lose it. I brought several cans of 10W30 motor oil.
A Chevy 350 short block.
yeah, Chevy 350.
Yeah, we were doing fine up until the stairs of the Yell, and then we had to lose it. And when you heard that big splash in the river, you know what happened.
So so go ahead.
No, that doesn't bear repeating.
So, anyways, Kevin was looking on his iPad and reading out the menu, and he decided that he was having a hot dog and a sausage. So that sounded good to me. And he says, "I'm going to buy your lunch." I said, "Good. I'll have the same as you, a hot dog and a sausage." And so then we got there, and somehow Kevin, you and I, we were about middle of the pack in the line, weren't we?
Right. Yeah, we were about middle. Well, we had to get our picture taken outside first in the hot sun.
Did we do that first?
We did, and we worked up quite the appetite trying to make that happen.
Yeah. The same girl, we made her get on the bus with us. So yeah, we got our.
She struggled at first, but then she saw that we were pretty good guys, and she had a fun day.
Yeah. So we ended up getting a hot dog and a sausage, which apparently we ordered something tough because everybody was getting their hot dog and whatever, but we weren't getting our sausage.
They were waiting for Abe Froman's super secret delivery of the sausage. The Sausage King of Chicago.
Then he walked
exactly.
in.
Apparently,
Are you Abe Froman?
Yes, I am.
He's a dashing young man. So apparently they needed to grill the sausage. So even though we were in the middle of the line, we ended up getting our food last.
Yeah, and I ordered a milkshake, and you ordered a malt.
Right.
And I had a Diet Coke, which was way too big. It was like a gallon of Diet Coke.
And then there's that.
So you and I had way too much food.
Yes, we did. I didn't know that we could have ordered one of our meals without fries. I only saw that as I saw the little sign as we were picking up the food tray, and I'm like, "Oops, yeah." So we got 2 orders of fries as well.
But they had pretty good seating. Like the seating there was plenty of room for us to sit. It's actually a drive-in with seating inside. So we actually had a really nice area to sit. And we're all sitting there, and we ended up sitting beside Tracy and Nick, I think. It was Tracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got.
Yeah, Spoon was on my right.
Which I was way too close to what happened next.
Oh, yeah, Spoon was Spoon and Tracy. Yeah, so anyways, we're sitting there. And Kevin and I we haven't admitted it to each other, but we're both thinking this is way too much food. But the hot dog was really, really good. Oh yeah, and I had the wrong hot dog. I had the one with the hot peppers, and I had already picked off the hot peppers. And he goes, "You've got the wrong hot dog." And I went, "Oh yeah, right. Well, here's your peppers."
We were so hungry because we had to wait. We just started grabbing food, completely forgetting that I got peppers and you did not.
Right. So then we're going along and we're having a lovely discussion with Mike and Tracy, and everybody's having a fun time with the food. It's good food. It was a good hot dog. And I don't know what happened. We were talking, but the next thing I know is Kevin is licking the straw of my milkshake.
You turned to talk to Tracy about something.
Yeah.
And took your eye off of your food for like a split second.
A split second. I don't even know what the conversation was about. I turned back, and you know how you have those moments in your life where you see something and you you do a double take in your brain and you're going, "Did I just see that?" And it's like the next thing I realize is Kevin is licking the straw of my milkshake, and he's going, "I can't tell the difference between what yours or mine, which one's the malt and which one's the milkshake." And I'm just like, I got nothing to say. I'm just like, I'm looking at him, and he's licking the straw and dipping it in the milkshake and trying it again and looking at it. And he goes, no, I think this is the milkshake. No, maybe this one's the malt. And then he's sticking the straw in again and licking it again. And I'm like, I'm looking at him like, well, what are you doing?
And I'm sitting there looking at Kevin, just absolutely dumbfounded at this spectacle that I'm watching. Sitting there going, I'm like this, and nobody recorded this. Somebody should have actually got their camera. I mean, we all had phones. Nobody thought to record this because it would have been a classic.
Well, thank God. Thank
Well,
God.
I was eating my food like no tomorrow because that was a pretty good hot dog.
Well, thank God, Spoon, you were there to witness the whole thing because
Oh God.
it was
Oh,
all
here I have a brand new straw. Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. So he goes and takes half the wrapper off and sticks it into Lionel's malt or whatever it was, and sticks it into that, and then leaves the paper on it. And then he takes his straw and puts it in his, and life goes on.
Yeah, and then he goes, wait a minute, I'm not sure. So then he sticks his finger in my milkshake, and he's licking his finger, and he's like, is that mine or is that yours? And he's sticking it in the malt. And I'm just sitting there looking at this like, why not just, and I said to him, why not just, grab, stick a handful in? And he says, really? Should I? And I'm like, no.
Oh, just hang on there, Skippy. Let's, since there was only
bring Kevin to the yard.
Yeah, since there was only one person paying attention to what was going on, and that would be me. Yes, some of the facts in that story are correct, and some allegedly may have been fabricated. So, yes, it is true. I took the dark shake because I figured that was the malt. There was a lighter colored chocolate beverage, and there was a darker chocolate beverage. I ordered the malt, so I'm like, that looks like the malt, so I'll take that one. So I took a few sips of it, and I couldn't taste anything related to a malt. And I thought, okay, well, maybe, Lionel already had my hot dog, so maybe I got his shake. So I kind of figured...
You're just making things worse for yourself, Kevin.
Yeah, you're just digging that hole.
Yeah, but I mean, now granted, I was not there, but...
you realize, you noticed that too, did you?
I did, but I mean, really, if fake news and fabricated facts aside, since Kevin paid, I mean, wouldn't this all kind of be okay anyway?
Yeah, I was the owner of both meals, so I can do what I want. So what I did, and several of you might know that I like to enjoy a good craft cocktail now and then. And so what I did, since Lionel had not taken the sip out of his shake, I opened it up, and if you go to a good place that makes good craft cocktails, before the bartender serves it to you, he sticks a straw in it, puts his finger over the top of it, and pulls the straw out, and the bartender will actually taste your drink before he or she serves it to you to make sure that it was made properly. And I decided to do the same thing with Lionel's shake. So I opened it up, I put my finger over the straw, I pulled the straw, and I tasted, and that's when he looks at me, and I'm like, I can't taste the difference between the two of them. And, there was a look of disbelief on his face, which is totally justified. So, what I did in front of him and everybody else, I took a new straw that wasn't open, I opened one end, and left most of the paper on it, and then I put that straw back in his milkshake and put the cover back on, so nothing from me touched the milkshake.
Kevin.
No part of human contact touched the milkshake. You know what? That would all have been fine, except the next thing that happened is just, it kind of was like, it was kind of like, this is the way that my day started to go. So then we were all enamored with the fact that we had a real live Southwest Airlines flight attendant with us. And Spoon couldn't start. Spoon's idea of making this conversation was talking to her about work and asking her about and telling her about how getting on the plane, and then you pay $60 for if you want to get at the front. And basically Southwest Airlines has this rush seating where it's kind of like the movie Airplane, where everybody's at the end, where everybody's running from one end of the terminal to the other, waiting for the guy to land. So so Spoon is talking to her about the seating, and it's $60 to get at the front of the line, and blah blah blah. So I thought, this is the honest to goodness truth. This is no fabrication. None of my stories are, anyways. So I thought.
Oh, bullshit.
So I thought, I'm trying. Oh my God, leave this poor woman alone. She doesn't want to talk about work. She wants to hang out with us and enjoy the day. So I turned to her and I said, she says, well, who do you fly with? And I say, oh, South or WestJet, but they have this thing where the first 4 rows have more leg room, and nobody sits in the middle seat, and you pay an extra $100. So whenever I fly, kind of in a snotty way, I go, whenever I fly, I always pay the $100 and sit up front because I don't want anybody sitting beside me.
Trying to keep me quiet.
Trying to keep you quiet. A little more chit chat because you were complaining about the $60. Fair enough. You were saying you were able to get on without paying that, which is great. So then I'm like trying to be like, oh well. So then I said, thinking to myself, well, if I went on Southwest, I said to her, well, I'd get 2 seats. I'd get 2 seats. So I have 2 seats. And without missing a beat, she turns to me and goes, oh yeah, you'd have to have 2 seats. That's what we tell you.
Wow, so all of a sudden the shake thing isn't so bad, is it?
All of a sudden I'm saying, I'm like I said to Kevin, I have at it, buddy. Stick your finger back in there. Because apparently...
And I was sitting with you guys now, and you kind of looked over at me and Spoon like, did she really just say that?
It wasn't that. It was the comment that she actually made, the actual direct quote about what to say at the check.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
right. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, but by this,
what are you supposed to say?
I forget it. By this time, I was a little shell shocked. On one side, I got Kevin licking the straw out of my milkshake and then dipping his finger, and on the other side, I got a well respected flight attendant for Southwest Airlines telling me there's no way she'd let me on the plane with just 1 seat.
Spoon, do you want to
fair,
go with?
man. What can I tell you?
Do you want to go with what they said, or
no? I don't, because I'm just gonna let this go because obviously I can tell that Lionel's. I think actually Lionel might have taken that a little bit
too hard.
Anybody that was there knows that kind of set the tone a little bit for the next hour or so.
What did she say? I forget. It was about.
She said to tell him that you are a person of size.
Yes, that's right.
Did she leave the word girth out of it, or it was just person of size?
No, it was just straight person of size.
Yes, I was a person of size. Yeah,
you were a person of size. And then there was another look up. Did she actually just say that?
And as persons of size, we require the seatbelt helper.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then I just said to Spoon, or then I just said the hard part. You know what? Just have my shake. I've lost interest. Because I'm still working on this gallon of Diet Coke. And by this time, I'm shuffling my food around, trying to make it look like I've ate most of it because I've got enough food for 7 people, and it's like. But then
there was a lot of food.
Yeah, but then we took our picture and everything was done, and we got back on the bus and all was
There was one person missing from that picture, and I'll let everybody else say who it was.
Was Joe not in the picture?
No, I had to pee.
Joe wasn't in the picture.
Of course,
And the lovely Jean took the photo, so she was not in the picture either.
Yep.
Yeah,
she volunteered to take it, but it is Sans. The day has just been known as Sans Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to go with Where's Joe, but that works better.
I tell you what,
but
we love you, Joe.
But then we were headed off to Displain's Hobbies, and on that segment of the trip, Kevin was sitting a couple of rows in front of me, and on that segment of the trip. A momentous moment. What's the word I'm looking for? A moment that will forever live in AML history occurred.
Yes.
Because we were talking about our sock mascot, who is from Argyle, Texas, home of the Fighting Sox. And I don't even know how we started talking about it. But I said to you, I said, well, kind of the working title is Little Willie, and we're talking blah, blah, blah. And I don't even know what made you say it, but you said, well, we should call it Crunchy the Sock.
Yeah, I was on the phone with my credit card company.
That's right. Yeah.
When I tried paying for our meal at SuperDawg, that's when I found out the credit card company shut off my card.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot.
Travels. I was on the phone with the credit card company, and then I finally got that worked out, because I was traveling, I had to verify all my purchases, and they turned my card back on, which was fine. And I literally turned around and heard the sock conversation, and I missed most of it. And you were talking about Little Willie, and I go, we should just call him Crunchy the Sock. and that's how it all happened.
And at that moment, as soon as you said it, it was the same. I had the same look probably as when you were dipping your finger in my milkshake. At that moment, I went, "That's it. He's born right there, Crunchy the Sock."
Crunchy the Sock was born on Lee Street at Des Plaines, Illinois.
Yep. Crunchy the Sock became, and that's the other thing we should tell about the story at SuperDawg. So Kevin, very graciously, before we got off the bus, says, "Lionel, I'm buying you lunch." I'm thinking, "Oh, great, thank you very much." So we get to the cash register, and as Kevin says, his card was rejected. And he turns to me and he says, "You got $46?" And I'm like, "Well, not on me. I got like 10." And I turned to Jordan, and Jordan had like 5. And so now I'm going down the line of AMLers saying, do you have any money? Like, we need $46 to pay for our food.
Hang on there, Skippy. Just 1 minute. Here we go again. So I believe the correct course of events. I reached in my pocket, pulled out some 20s and a 10, and paid the fine young lady. And part of me, I'm paying her, and then the other part of me is going, "Holy cow! We just spent $46 on hot dogs, fries, Polish sausage, and a couple shakes and a Coke. $46. If I'm going to spend this kind of money, there should be a hockey game going on in front of me."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a bit much there, $46, and we're like.
But I will tell you, the food was spectacular. You did not go away hungry, and it was worth every penny.
Yeah, and the only thing for me at the end of the day was I couldn't tell if the milkshake tasted so good because you had dipped your finger in it, or if that was just the natural flavor of the milkshake.
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah. So then we went to Des Plaines Hobbies, had great fun there, and we discovered that they had at least a half a dozen S-scale kits in that store.
Yeah.
How many, Spoon? Half a dozen
times
so?
probably 100.
Yeah.
How many locomotives did they have?
Not very many. Which shocked me because they had they had some brass and some of the Lionel SD70-2s or whatever they are, but they had some, but they didn't have very much of the. They had a handful of engines. That's about it. Cars, though, they had cars up the wazoo.
Yeah, and Stephen Vaughn took me over to the brass case, and we were talking about how and we decided that S was the perfect scale. S is in fact the perfect scale. We all thought that, Spoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bob Frischella, S is the perfect scale.
Yeah.
I think it actually says that in the latest issue of Model Railroad News. There's an S-scale page, and I think it even says S is the perfect scale.
I think you might be right, to be honest with you. You might be 100% correct. Yeah,
I will verify that in just a second.
If you're looking for S-scale stuff and you're looking to get into it, Des Plaines Hobbies is a really good place to start to
yes,
cut your teeth.
Right, and I can say in the latest issue of Model Railroad News, this is the August 2019 issue, on page, wow, they don't even number their pages. There's so many pages in this magazine, it's not even numbered. It's on page 8. On the top left, it says, "Want to model the perfect size? Think S-scale." There you go.
There you have it.
So apparently, Spoon, all your letters and petitions are working.
Great. It's still only 6 of us.
They're saving on email that way.
I save on stamps, yeah.
And we all bought something. We all walked out of there with something.
How many guys bought Lance?
Oh, yeah.
Lance
Yeah, there are
Minheim's
4 of
book.
us.
Was there 4 or was there 5?
There are 4 of us,
4
and we got a picture of us, and that picture is posted on the Modelers Life Facebook page. And it was, let me pull it up, it was Spoon, myself, Stephen Vaughn, and our own Boston Joe. So there's a photo of us each holding the book up in front of Displays Hobbies, and we posted that to the page and said that we heard Lance's interview, and we all had to rush out and buy his book, and there it was.
Yeah, good book too.
Very good book. I've just paged through it briefly, and it's very well put together.
Then it was off to Steven Haworth's house.
And then one of the greatest moments in AML history happened.
I was just about to say the same thing. Possibly the highlight of the entire day.
Yes, absolutely. You could not have planned what was about to happen.
Oh,
Could not have planned that.
I will say this much, though. That was some pretty darn good driving by that bus driver.
yes.
To turn that bus around in the middle of that intersection the way he did.
On a city
It was funny.
street.
For the first minute, we were like, "What is he doing?" And then at the end of it, we're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, he had an interesting approach to driving. I thought in some cases it was like, "Oh, well, I'm way bigger than you, so
Yes.
I'm just gonna go."
yeah."
You'll stop.
So
if you-
so Kevin, tell us what happened.
Okay, so after he turned the bus around and he was on the opposite side of Steven's house, we were all starting to cross the street. And let's just say, what happened the earlier part of the day also happened at Steven's house. Some people crossed the street quickly, some people were kind of in the middle, and some people, let's just say, took a little while. So as people were crossing, this bright red Ford Expedition pulls up that is a fire truck. And we looked on the side, and on the side of this beautiful black and red Ford Expedition, it had the fire department logo. I'm looking at the picture right now. It says Displays Fire Department, Battalion 61. And on both sides of the hood, it says Incident Command. And a very nice gentleman was driving, and he was waving us across the street. And, being the inquisitive person that I'm sure he is and is in his position, he's like, "Hey, what you guys doing?"
Of all people he asks that of, he asks me.
Yeah.
He says, "What are you touring?" I said, "His house."
His house. And I heard that, and I turned around and went, "Oh, this is a great photo opportunity
That's when
right
I
here."
turned around too.
So we had to get Lionel up by this man in his vehicle and get a picture, which is on the Modelers Life Facebook page. And we had to get a picture of Lionel with the fire commander in front of his truck that says Incident Command, because apparently, we're an incident and we needed some commanding.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was good. Then we went into Steven says, the guy turned out to be really nice. He said to me, "So seriously, are you guys going in to see a model railroad?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come on in if you want." And somehow I think somebody had called in or something. That's why I don't think he was just cruising around. He seemed pretty interested at start. Anyways, we went into Steven Haworth's house. What a spectacular layout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a great layout to run.
To say the least.
Beautiful layout. Beautiful, beautiful layout. And Steven was very gracious all day, too. He kind of led us around Chicago. It was great that he met up with us.
I will say one thing, and I don't think any of you got pictures of it. When me and Steven were running trains before he gave the one train to Peter Borcherdt's, and we met in the two trains met in the tunnel.
Yeah, there was an incident.
Yes.
All I heard was, "Peter, you need to turn your train off."
Followed by stop, and my train coming out of the tunnel in reverse as fast as it could go.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys had a dark meet. But what a great layout! And then he showed us his slide out for his the power panel, the fuse panel is. He had done a really good job. He had done something that I had kind of always said that if I was starting over, I'd do. Is he basically filled in the scenery with just, he put in all the forms, and he did a lot of the rock molds and that, and anything that was left, he just covered with ground foam to give it a finished look, which was spectacular, I thought.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah, and then he just cut roads in where he needs to, put buildings where he needs to afterwards, and then backfill his little static grass, and it was basically could have been just considered a finished layout the way it was.
Yeah.
It was great.
That was a beautiful, beautiful layout. My only problem was at this point I was self-conscious about whether or not I could fit down the aisles. Because
it wasn't 2 deep aisles.
Because Tracy had pointed out that I would obviously need a wider seat, 2 seats.
You were good. His aisles were very generous.
His aisles were very generous, exactly. Oh, were you there, David?
Yes, I was there.
All right. Yeah, so great layout, Steven. Thank you very much for. And you know what? I thought we did it turned out that we did the order of events perfectly because Steven's layout being the last thing of the day was awesome, I thought. It was absolutely spectacular.
Oh, it wasn't quite the last thing of the day. It was our last planned event in Chicago.
Yeah.
But the day continued.
Well, yeah, the day did continue. I'm just
The
thinking.
cannonball run over to Rochelle.
I'm just thinking this might be the first 4-hour podcast we've ever done.
We haven't even gotten to the barbecue.
Yeah. So,
but it was just fantastic, and I just want to go on record and say thank you, Lionel, for organizing the bus trip because that just made the day so much easier. We could not have done what we did without. Well, we could have taken the train up to Des Plaines and Ubered around or whatever, but the bus just made it so easy and painless because we could just relax and not have to, stress about the heavy traffic that we were in. So thank you very much.
Well, and just
here.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome is. You know what? It's very selfish on my part because I have so much fun with you guys. I knew it would be a ton of fun to have us all on the bus together. So to be completely honest, it was a selfish move so I could hang out with you guys all day. So it goes both ways. But I think as a little bit of a side note, Gordy Robinson was at the National Convention in Salt Lake City that very same week. And earlier in the week, he had talked to Jordan and I. Cosmo, you can back me up on this. He had talked to Jordan and I about how excited the NMRA was that we possibly would be getting our own personal private bus again next year in St. Louis for the SIG tour.
Exactly. Yeah. He was very saying that the NMRA was very excited about that.
Yeah, and I think the comment was, we're going to need a bigger bus. And then the comment after that was, well, we're going to need 2 buses and one can be a decoy bus.
Yeah, they're very upset with the fact that we have our own bus, which of course means we'll have a bigger bus.
And possibly 2.
And possibly
3 highway coaches.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you do that? Let's just be realistic.
I don't know.
That's just the logical thing to do.
I don't understand what the difference is between having 3 Ford Expeditions or 1 bus. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But anyways.
Turning radius.
Yeah. Ray DeBleek was very, it upset Gordy very much about how we had gotten our own bus. And they were convinced that most of us had snuck onto the SIG tour when in fact we'd all paid, and they were very upset that Tony and I had press passes, and they were convinced that we didn't pay for everything. And apparently they were upset that we had gone down to some yard that Shane had taken us to. For some reason or other, the NMRA is just upset with us permanently. So
that we used personal funds to hire a vehicle and go on public property.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense.
Absolutely.
Just checking.
So yeah. So I'm looking forward to St. Louis.
Because you know what's going to happen.
You'll have to watch the movie The Big Bus before then.
Yeah.
No, I remember that one.
That's a funny movie and a good movie.
Yeah. So anyways, we finished up this part 1. the bus ride was awesome. The whole day was awesome in Chicago.
Well, it was set up awesome because the initially we thought we were getting like a small 26 or 20 passenger bus,
yes.
and they put forth to you that it might be something larger if they didn't have a small one. So once we tracked down where our bus was, and saw this full size luxury highway coach roll up to the corner we were waiting on, we were going, all right, and then hopped inside in the cool air conditioned comfort, and it was a pretty sweet ride.
It was a beautiful bus. It was like, what, a 50, 60 passenger bus?
Something like, yeah, 48 passenger, whatever our standard highway coach was, right?
Yeah, it was sweet. It was a nice ride. And our driver was very friendly, and he did.
He was, I kind of feel sorry for him getting tossed in the way he did and not knowing what was going on, but he turned out to be a great guy.
Did a good job and drove us to SuperDawg, and then drove us.
It was amazing he got through the drive-through and everything at SuperDawg.
Yeah. What shocked me was that the top of the bus stayed on, and we knocked down the awning on SuperDawg.
Film at 11.
Yeah, and we dragged that for 5 or 10 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we had a great day on Friday.
We had a super day on Friday.
And so now we got to give out now, Tony, why didn't you come on Friday? I forget.
We left Friday morning, and this was Shane, Mason, and myself, and we went up to Des Moines, Iowa, and then across I-80 and went over to Lombard Hobbies, and we stopped at, I think it's the Hobby Haven in Des Moines, Iowa. So we had some places like that we were hitting on Friday, and we didn't get away till, it's an all-day drive, so we wouldn't have been able to catch up to you guys unless we'd left Thursday night or way early on Friday morning. So.
And how far is it from Kansas City to Aurora, Illinois?
I think it's most of the day. I think it's about 6 or 7 hours.
Oh, okay.
If you're observing the speed limit.
Exactly. Why wouldn't you?
Well, and knowing that you guys are going to have a bus, the whole bus thing has me nervous now. So I'm thinking, after all that you talked about with the bus thing, I think Cook County in Chicago, I didn't want to get, in trouble up there with, this whole bus ordeal. So I just steered clear of it.
Yeah, you're already in enough trouble in Kansas City.
There you go. So yeah, why add Chicago and Cook County?
Plus, you were squiring around that beautiful
the Cadillac.
The Caddy, the beautiful red Caddy.
That was its first road trip ever.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well,
and how did she do?
It did very well. We crossed 30,000 miles on the odometer on the way out.
Are you sure you didn't take a what's the word?
Circuitous?
Circuitous route to do 30? That seemed like to me it was only about an 8-hour drive, and it took you 30,000 miles.
Well, this would be all total.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, so going back to when it was new in the mid-90s till now, it had 30,000 miles.
The first man I've ever met to buy a brand new Cadillac Eldorado with 25,000 miles 25 years later.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Here's a story. When we got into our hotel room up in Appleton on Sunday afternoon, I'm looking out our hotel window, and down, lo and behold, down in the parking lot in front was a red Caddy looking pretty much like Tony's. I go, what's Tony doing here? I looked again. I said, it can't be. He's not here. And
all right, you know what we'll do after part 2?
Yes,
we will have you give us a brief description of the remainder of your trip.
Oh, okay.
All right, how's that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
Now, what does everybody else in the room think?
Sounds great.
Yeah, they're all applauding. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah. Bruce, can you give out our email address?
Yes, our email address, if you wish to comment on the shenanigans that occurred on the Friday of the big AML-BBQ weekend. ModelersLife, modelers with 1 L, ModelersLife@gmail.com.
Yes. Tony, you're totally correct. When I say the NMRA, whenever they're complaining about me, almost 99% of the time it's the board of directors.
Oh.
It's all the other regions and divisions, and all those people that are on the ground working hard for the NMRA are doing a fantastic job and are helping to move the organization forward. Wouldn't you say, Bruce?
I would say so.
Yeah. It's just for some reason or other I've seemed to make the board of directors annoyed, which is kind of reminds me of going to high school. I got along with the bulk of the population, which was the kids, but some of the teachers and the principal and the vice principal seemed to be constantly annoyed at me. And I would look at it like, okay, we were from a small school, only like 500 or 600 kids, but the 7 or 8 people that were constantly annoyed at me seemed to be the ones that were prevalent in my life.
I thought you went and got smoked some wood and stuff for the vice principal.
Well, the principal, eventually
the
him
principal.
and I.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I say the vice principal, he was just constantly. I was in
Okay.
the principal kind of kept it on the QT.
Yeah.
That I was his, I had used my pickup truck and he'd have me drive around and do errands for him and work on his deck. And
Maybe you need to do that for these people that have ruffled feathers now. I mean, maybe there's deck projects or things they need done.
that's not a bad idea. Maybe that's what I should do is I should go work on their deck or something.
Well, there you go.
Problem, of course, now is I'm 65 and I actually have people that do that for me. So I don't see me working on anybody's deck.
Well, maybe just get them to build some T-track modules.
Yeah. I don't really see me doing anything for them. I don't know why they're so annoyed that we took a bus. Like if four Ford Expeditions showed up at the same time, what's the difference between that and a 20-passenger bus? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand what the problem is. But I guess
I'm thinking the problem is there's the guys running the convention and the LD Zig guys thought you were ripping them off because and they just went off without checking into things. Oh, they don't have the T-shirts; they're all crashing. Well,
Yeah.
That's not the way it was.
and also they got this whole thing about this trip. Like 2 days later, we went into see these abandoned or storage engines, and they seemed to think we were on private property or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a misunderstanding. I'm sure everybody will be nice to you in St. Louis next year.
Yeah. I don't think so when we show up with a bus. I'm pretty sure the same people are going to be annoyed. The problem is, okay, here's the problem. When the vice principal would get mad at me, it seemed like fun to just make him madder. Which,
Yeah.
when Mrs. Blake, the grade 12 English teacher, would get mad at me, it seemed like fun just to make her madder. So I spent a lot of time. Mr. Druxbury, Druxbery. He was the principal, and he befriended me by grade 10. At the end of grade 10 when I got my license in my pickup truck. And he was just, his whole thing was like, do you have to keep coming down here? Like,
Sorry.
Yeah, they keep sending me here. So
Let's make the best of it.
And the worst part was, around halfway through grade 11, the vice principal kind of got a little bit of wind of this, and he would go keep checking when I would get a detention, he'd go checking to see where I was. And of course, I was nowhere to be found. So he was convinced I was skipping out on detention, when in actual fact, the principal had me doing duties for him. It was just a vicious circle.
Maybe you're just born under a bad sign.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I have good memories of being in high school. It's just, I think, Mr. Mercer, the vice principal, he wasn't having that much fun. Okay, we have a website, ModelersLife.com. If you go there and you'll find all kinds of really cool stuff about our podcast, recent shows and all that kind of stuff, and our crew page, and I think that's it. So who wants to handle the end? Are one of you gentlemen ready for the end?
I think Tony be ready.
Tony, are you ready for the end?
I think I am, yes.
Oh, okay. So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
milkmaids.
Any highlights, boys? Any highlights of our little show there?
The whole weekend was a highlight.
It was all a blur.
When you hear human highlight reel, that's what the weekend was.
Yes, it was.
How could it be a blur? You were so pokey. We're dragging behind. I should have grabbed those little ropes from those elementary schools and just dragged you around.
It was all a blur because I wasn't wearing my glasses.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh there you go.
I don't know how you made it home, Joe. Did you follow in a long string? All right. Somebody's got to give out the email address. Tom, go.
If you would like to contact us through the hip and happening method of email, you can write to ModelersLife@gmail.com. That's modelers with one L as in loop, not two L's as in Rochelle.
Wow. Nice one.
Nice.
Kevin is on the other side of the studio just hooting and hollering. He is like high-fiving everybody. He's just like, great.
Tom nailed it. On short notice, he nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I was hoping he'd say Rochelle, and he did. He pulled through.
I thought he was going to say one L like Lego.
Oh!
Oh! That
Sweet.
works too.
Wow. Guess who's going to be
Save that
doing...
for next time.
Yeah, I guess who's going to be doing the email out for the part 2 tomorrow. Tomorrow's part 2. We've never done this ever in the history of the AML. Part 1 is on Monday. Part 2 is on Tuesday on the Patreon channel. This is like the most exciting thing we've ever done. There was so much happened at the picnic. It took us almost 2.5 hours to get through it. 2 hours and 35 minutes or something to get through the whole thing. That's how much
every hour there was a story. Something happened literally every hour of every day, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and most of the day on Sunday.
Exactly. David, this is your longest podcast you've ever been on. What do you think, buddy?
It was great.
You love being on the podcast, don't you, David?
Sure.
says the man with the largest microphone in the studio.
Yeah. He insisted on he has to have a bigger microphone than anybody else. David, can you do the end of the show?
Sure.
It's a man of few words.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we got a website at ModelersLife.com. You go there and you can find out all about us. And I think that's about it. Awesome first half. Awesome picnic. Okay, so remember, a modeler's life is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
picnic goers.
Well, they called Casey about 4:30. He kissed his wife at the station door. He stepped into the cabin with the orders in his hand. Said, I'm gonna take my trip to the promised land. Casey Jones stepped into the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones stepped into the cabin. Said, I'm gonna take my trip to the promised land.
While in Busted Knuckle, guests of a Modeler's Life podcast stay at the Casa del Sol Motor Court and Inn, where late-night dancing at the Rumba Room is a magical event to be experienced.
It's another Lincoln Homer.